Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine. Let's network.
Hi, I'm Marty Levinson. Welcome to the Northtown News Magazine.
Thank you, Marty. Avi Meyers, Northtown Neighborhood News Magazine, a presentation of Sonny Hirsch and myself. Dial us up on the web, ntnm.org, caps24.org. This year was our most fun year for judicial election ever. We were totally swamped by judicial candidates coming on the show, participating in Jewish Chicago, and we won some, we lost some. I think we won more than we lost, which I'm very happy about. And one of the ones I'm very happy about winning and being on the right side for, and well, despite only voting once, is a race for Appellate Court of Cook County, in which the winner was Judge Jesse Reyes. How are you?
Good.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Javi.
And by the way, it was also a pleasure I got to know your wife also this campaign.
Yes.
So, we were talking back and forth about Jewish Chicago, and all of a sudden, I realized, oh, you're Mrs. Reyes. So, hi there.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So,
Appreciate it.
and by the way, thank you. I appreciate the fact that you called afterwards. I appreciate the fact that you wanted to come on afterwards.
Well, I wanted to come by and thank you and thank Jewish Chicago and the voters and the viewers for supporting my candidacy and for making my victory possible.
Well, first of all, I think you were such a clear choice. Some of the races were very tough. I mean, there were races where there were 3 different people I wanted to vote for.
Yes.
But in your race, I really thought you stood out in the field.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
First of all, thank you. And, I guess the funny thing is that you are known by just about everybody. It's funny. Every time your name gets mentioned, I saw him here, I saw him there. It's like you're all over the place.
Well, I think it's important for judges in particular to be out in the community, to meet people. A lot of times, we're on the bench, and we don't really know sometimes how our rulings, how our decisions might affect others. So I think it's important to get out in the community, talk to people. Now, you're not going to talk about your decisions, but at least you get a sense. Listening to them, what's going on in their world. Sometimes when you make a decision, how it impacts someone else. And at least when you're making that decision from that different perspective, at least you can be a little more sensitive to some of the issues that people are dealing with every day.
No, I think that's very important. There's no question about it. It's funny because one of the things I really saw this election is there's so many people that don't even have any idea, not just in judicial stuff, but what really goes on in court, what really goes on in public life in some of these offices.
Right. Yes. It's very important for people to understand, and that's one of the reasons why I enjoyed campaigning, because I get to talk about what I do and what I've been doing in the past as a judge and as a lawyer, and explaining to people about the process and why it's important to go to court. Now, unfortunately, there's a lot of people, like in the foreclosure area, that don't come to court, and they don't realize that they're hurting themselves more than helping themselves by not going to court, because there's a lot of different options that they could avail themselves of that are available at the court if they went to court. So, I think it's important for people to realize that the court system, although it may seem a little intimidating, it's actually a place, it's the public's place, first of all. And secondly, it's their place where they can maybe find out what is that they could do pertaining to the issues that they're dealing with.
One of the things I don't think people realize is that you guys really bend over backwards to be fair, and sometimes you might even perceive maybe you bend over a little too far sometimes, but you try to be fair. And people don't realize it's like you can't prejudge.
Right.
And, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, but I actually, I get called for jury duty like everybody else, and usually, thank God, nobody picks me. Yeah. So, but you know what? Last time around, this is about 2 years ago, I got hauled onto a jury at 26th and Cal.
Okay.
So it was just a little misdemeanor. The guy stole $19 worth of hair care products. The judge was Diane Cannon, by the way, but not the movie star, unfortunately. It was interesting. It was a one-day process. The guy and even though the guy was clearly guilty, I mean, I saw the safeguards taken to make sure that this person had every chance to present his case and to be able to, and we were instructed to be fair also. And it was a real eye-opener. It was very educational, and I'm glad I went through it.
Well, I'm glad you did, because I think, a lot of times we don't realize in our process that we have people go to court to have their wrongs hopefully righted, and they pick a jury, which is all of us, right? To sit there and to listen, and it's a very important responsibility because you get to make the decision. The judge doesn't make the decision. You listen to the facts as a juror, and then you decide yes or no. And I think it's one of those responsibilities that unfortunately a lot of us don't realize, that we need each other as a community, as a society, in order to correct those wrongs that we perceive have occurred to us. And the only way we're going to do it is by having 12 men and women listen to the facts and the evidence and making a decision.
You know what else was really interesting to me was the fact that there are very few occasions I get to sit down with a diverse amount of people on that kind of level. Right. I was meeting the kind of people that I would never meet during the course of my regular life. And we were all equal in the process.
And I think, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize also is that 9 times out of 10, it works. You get people from different walks of life. They come into a room, and then all of a sudden, they have everything presented to them. They sit in that room, and then they make a decision. And they listen to each other, but they come out with the right decision. So I think it's a process that has its flaws, just like anything else. But overall, it's a system that works and works well.
I want to tell you, in my case too, I was also very grateful that there were actually several eyewitnesses, as well as 3 cameras, because the idea of actually sending somebody to jail who was actually innocent was a scary thing. But if this guy wasn't guilty, I don't know who was.
Yeah. And speaking of cameras, I know that there's some people that are opposed to having cameras in the court. Our Supreme Court has now said that they're going to allow cameras in the court. And I think from the standpoint of transparency, I think that's very important, because this way at least you'll be able to see the process, how it works. In some countries, they don't have that transparency. And people, just behind closed door make a decision.
By the way, transparency is a very nice way to put what happens in some countries.
But I think having the cameras in the courtroom will at least, maybe encourage people to also become more engaged in the process.
I want to tell you, my first experience with the courtroom, and I better hurry up, there's not a lot of time left, is I was a reporter for the Daily Defender, and I was sent to 26th in California to cover a case. And it was culture shock. I mean, I couldn't believe what it was like. People watching Law and Order, you'd think you're seeing something real.
Yeah.
Go check out a real court sometimes.
Yes, that's true.
So you're going to the Appellate Court,
yes.
Now not till December, I guess?
Not till December. I'll still be on the ballot in November, but at this point in time, I have no opponent. In November, I'll be on the ballot, and then I'll go on to the Appellate Court in December.
But it doesn't mean you can't vote early and often. Well, actually,
right.
I'm not going to say that about a judge. For Judge Jesse Reyes, the Republicans probably won't put up somebody because they know how futile that could be in these particular circumstances. So, no, I'm very glad to see it. And, like I keep telling people, the primary for judges is the election.
Yes.
So, and I'm glad to see so many of you were very intelligent in this race and voted for the right person, and thank you.
Well, and thank you so much for your support. And again, as I said, to the voters and to the viewers in Jewish Chicago.
Well, first of all, it's my pleasure, and you're always welcome back on the show. Anytime you want to talk about something, you have an open invitation to come back.
Thank you, Javi.
Thank you so much, Judge Jesse Reyes, and thank you.
All right.